Chapter 20. African Savannah. African Savannah, Zimbabwe. Kwai Concession. A large blazing blood-orange sun sits high in the clear blue sky. It is mid-afternoon and a sweltering 90 degrees. A four-wheel drive jeep slowly makes its way across a shimmering, rough, rocky trail through grassland. It manoeuvres through the open canopies of dispersed jackalberry and acacia trees. Jameson sits up front in the passenger seat. It is not just the blistering sun that is making him sweat. He is nervous. The whimpering coming from the back seat is beginning to really unsettle him.
How much longer?
He asks the driver. The driver, Ace, does not answer. He quickly lifts a small set of binoculars to his eyes and scans the grassland ahead. He drops the binoculars and resumes driving.
Almost there.
More whimpering from the back seat. Jameson anxiously looks back at the young girl, lying down, bound and gagged. Her terrified eyes find his. He quickly looks away and spins back around in his seat.
I'm really not sure about this,
he says. Ace smiles and shakes his head.
Well, it's a good job I am. See, it's times like this where I can't tell if I'm talking to Ace or the devil.
Ace slowly turns his head to face Jameson.
I know exactly what you mean.
He smiles. They drive on for a short while. Ace hits the brakes and the jeep skids to a halt. After the dust settles, Jameson peers through the windscreen at the open expanse. He spots something to the left, in the distance. Something moving, something fairly large. It pops up its impressive golden sand-coloured head for a moment, watching the jeep. Its large ears twitching as it listens. Then another head pops up out of the tall grass, and another. Jameson can now see that it is a pride of lions. Ace's intentions had been unclear. The finer details at least. Ace had informed Jameson of his role in this particular mission on the way to the airport. To act as a backup, follow Ace's lead, and that was all. They had boarded the plane using fake passports, hired a jeep under a false name. GPS did the rest. It led them to a hunting ranch, and then Ace was bundling a body onto the back seat. It all happened so fast. Ace was quiet and focused the entire time. Jameson was clearly on a need-to-know basis. But as he watches more curious lions taking an interest in the jeep, Ace's intentions are now becoming clearer. Wide-eyed, he turns to Ace and opens his mouth to speak. Ace is already staring at him.
Get the girl,
Ace says, before Jameson can speak. Ace opens his door and climbs out. Jameson closes his dry mouth and struggles to swallow. His eyes dart as he tries to decide what to do. He cannot be a part of this, cannot allow this. Not again. Ace, at the rear of the jeep, opens the boot, startling Jameson, who quickly exits the vehicle and joins Ace, who is pulling a hunting rifle out of the boot.
Okay,
Jameson says, staring at the rifle.
I thought we talked about this. This! Murder! That's right, we did. So, you're just gonna shoot her? Been thinking about it. You can't. Can't I? She's just a girl, a teenager. Do you know who this girl is?
Jameson pauses. He looks in the jeep at the girl and then back at Ace blankly. Ace just shakes his head.
You know, for an animal lover,
he says, staring into Jameson.
You sure don't know much about what's happening in the animal world.
Jameson tries to hold Ace's gaze.
But I do know much about the human world, and I do know that you can't just go around killing people, especially children. So it's okay to kill, say, a baby cow, a lion, premeditated, in cold blood, but not a person? Yes! I mean, no! It's not all right to kill either. We'll try telling that to Miss Jones here.
Jameson looks into the jeep. He frowns.
So who is she?
He asks abruptly, turning back to Ace.
Tell me what she's done that's so wrong she deserves to be executed.
Ace stares Jameson down.
Ask her yourself.
He closes the boot and walks around to the front of the jeep. Jameson huffs for a moment. He makes his way to the side of the jeep and swings open the door. He takes a deep breath and then quickly but carefully reaches into the jeep and pulls the girl out onto her feet. She begins to sob. He leads her to join Ace.
Remove her gag,
Ace instructs. Jameson reaches up and carefully pulls the duct tape from the girl's mouth and face. She immediately starts crying.
Please, what's happening?
She cries. Her accent is Southern American.
Please.
Shut up!
Ace snaps, silencing her.
Now,
He says, turning to Jameson.
I believe you have a question you'd like to ask?
Jameson scowls. He turns to the girl. She's in her late teens, somewhat pretty, despite the mess that tears and mascara and snot have made of her face. Long blonde hair, albeit a bit dishevelled. Her scared and pleading blue eyes look into his.
Do you know why you're here?
The girl just looks at Ace and then at the rifle, and then back to Jameson. With tears streaming from her eyes, she shakes her head.
I haven't done anything, mister. Please, why are you doing this to me?
Oh, don't give me that boo-hoo. I'm just an innocent little girl. Bullshit routine!
The girl jumps with fright and sobs harder.
Jesus Christ, she's just a kid! Look at her!
Ace doesn't acknowledge Jameson. He steps in closer to the girl.
Just a kid? My pimply sagging prolapse festering ass. She's a real go-getter. An action woman. Likes to live dangerously, this one. Flirts with danger. All those guns and wild animals. All those hunts. Those executions. All that blood. Haven't done anything, mister. As if you're 8 years old. Nice try, Miss Jones. You're a cold-blooded killer.
The girl just shakes her head.
Oh, don't deny it. I know who you are. I've seen the evidence, the pictures. And you were so defiant to all those people on social media who were rightly outraged. All smiles and tough talk. Well, it's a little different when you're not hiding behind a camera. Not so tough now, are you?
What are you? An animal rights nut or something?
So wait, you're a hunter?
The correct term is huntress.
Oh, well.
Jameson shrugs.
Excuse me. She's no hunter. She pays people to take her to an animal so she can gun the defenseless creature down into extinction. She's no tracker, no scout. She takes no risks. She's not even doing it out of hunger. She's just another up-and-coming psycho with a gun who gets a thrill from killing something. Only this one uploads photos of it to her Facebook profile.
I've done no wrong.
The girl tries to protest.
I'm doing nothing unlawful but exercising my God-given right to...
Alrighty then. And still, no reckoning, no remorse. The same old rhetoric. Next you'll be telling me you do it for conservation.
Actually, there is an argument that hunting does aid conservation. By carefully selecting certain animals from a population, we can help strengthen the gene pool and conserve...
It's an argument. That's all it is. You know, nature does all that pretty well on its own. Who are you to intervene in a natural process that predates your own species?
But I could argue that I am part of nature. Part of that natural process.
Well, I could say the same for this predicament, couldn't I?
Ace smiles.
That I'm carefully selecting a particularly sick individual who is best hunted and killed and removed from the population to conserve the gene pool. And it's perfectly natural.
The girl is silent.
I love animals too,
She offers.
and hunt with an understanding of how my kills impact conservation and the ecosystem.
Ace lets out a dry laugh.
Did you just lift that straight off your website? Can you even hear yourself? I love animals. My kills. How can you love animals if you hunt and kill them? When you've got that leopard, zebra, rhino in your sights, and you look into the glistening beauty and life in its eyes, you're not thinking, I love this animal. You're thinking, I'm gonna kill this animal to snuff out its life, its beauty. And this is your sport. Killing negates the very meaning of the word conserve. To conserve, to protect from loss and harm. I'm sorry, but
Ace cups an ear towards the girl.
could you speak into my good ear? I thought I heard you say God-given right. God gives you the right to mercilessly kill, does he? He told you that, did he? Whispered in your ear, perhaps.
Ace impersonates God in a whispering voice.
You know what would please me, my divine daughter? Go forth to the plains, the forests, and the swamps of this glorious kingdom I have created.
And shoot! Shoot your little guns at animals at will. Shoot those bastards. I am giving you the right.
Well, I've heard enough of that kind of lunacy.
He turns to Jameson.
Untie her.
Jameson stalls.
What do you intend to do here? Untie her, or I will.
Ace says, reaching for a sheathed knife attached to his belt.
And I won't be as careful as you.
Jameson begins to untie her.
Please.
The girl says, beginning to cry again.
Please what? I thought you loved nothing more than a good hunt. You're going to hunt her?
Jameson asks, as he frees the girl's hands. Ace looks down at his rifle.
This is a hunting rifle, isn't it? And a damn fine one, too.
He holds it up and turns to the girl.
You, of all people, should appreciate it.
The girl just stares at it, terrified.
Served me well during a recent hunting trip to Scotland.
Ace adds. Jameson glances at Ace, understanding the reference.
So you hunt too?
The girl asks, confused.
It's a recent, necessary evil.
Ace shrugs.
But unlike you, I don't kill innocent animals.
He stares intensely at the girl.
It's people I kill. Only the guilty, the wicked, the corrupt filth of the world.
The girl stares back at Ace. There is a tense silence.
I take no pleasure in it. And I certainly don't take their heads home and mount them on my wall. No, you just hang them from a beam in a shed. What kind of mixed up, hypocritical bullshit is that you're talking?
Jameson says, only just containing his anger.
How can you condemn killing an animal and yet condone killing a human being? We're all animals. All beings. Some more intelligent and conscientious than others. But all sentient. I condemn the supposed intelligent and conscientious human animal who engage in the cruel and unnecessary killing of other sentient animals.
Jameson just shrugs, exasperated.
Now you really do sound like a maniac.
He says, referring to his phone call with Black. Ace turns to Jameson.
Look, if it takes a psychopath to rid the world of the rest of the psychopaths, so that the human race can evolve to a saner, compassionate way of life, resulting in the recovery of nature, and ultimately to the benefit of animals, then that's what I'll be. That's what I have become. Who else would do it but me? You?
Jameson just stares at Ace.
Her?
Ace asks, flicking a thumb at the girl. Jameson looks dubiously at the trembling girl.
And she represents the new generation. A generation of dumbed-down egomaniacs with little care for the knowledge that our masters and rulers are narcissistic, warmongering pedophiles, and with little respect or empathy for the suffering natural world that grants them their very existence.
That's not true. I care. I have respect for...
Ace just silences her with a raised hand.
Okay,
He says, gesturing his hand to the open ground.
you can walk. You can run. Either way. Go. Now.
The girl freezes.
I'm going to give you a head start. Don't worry.
The girl still does not move.
Please. I just want to go home.
Well, go. You're free. Go. Head on home. Back to Texas. Run. Jesus Christ.
Jameson protests.
Maybe you'll make it. Go now. Or I'll shoot you here, where you stand.
The girl cries and begins to slowly edge away from the jeep.
You can't just walk into the wilderness.
Jameson says, desperately watching her go.
She's got camouflage clothing on. She'll be fine. There are lions watching us right now. She'll be mauled to death.
Jameson turns to Ace.
Please, don't do this. She doesn't deserve this.
Ace seems to curiously look into Jameson's beseeching eyes, as if searching for something, but not something in Jameson, in himself. Ace turns to watch the girl as she carefully edges further away from the jeep. Ace shrugs.
There is a chance she will escape. A chance she will survive. I can't let you do this. Please, she's just a kid. Someone's daughter. Like Penny. Her parents should be ashamed of themselves. Her father was the one who got her into this blood sport in the first place. He put her in this position.
The girl sobs.
I want my daddy.
She cries, regressing. Ace grimaces. He seems confused, tormented. He huffs, turns his back, and takes a couple of steps.
I think you've done enough.
Jameson pleads, turning to Ace.
Scared her enough to send a message, right? Surely this is enough. You don't have to kill her, please. I'm begging you. Don't do this.
Ace shakes his head in thought. He looks up to the blue sky above. He notices that the sky is the exact same colour as the girl's desperate eyes. After a short while, he sighs.
Tie her hands and put her back in the jeep.
Jameson smiles and takes a deep breath, relieved. He turns to the girl, but she is gone.
Where the hell did she go?
Ace spins around. They scan the grassland.
There!
Jameson yells and points at a figure, tearing through the grass at pace. They are about to run after her when they hear a low rumbling growl. They turn to see a perfectly camouflaged lioness emerging from some tall grass to their right, poised and ready to pounce.
Oh my.
Ace says, peering at the lion, as he and Jameson very slowly edge back towards the jeep.
Aren't you beautiful? Please don't just admire the large deadly carnivore. Use the gun.
Jameson whispers.
I won't shoot her.
You would rather she just ate us both. This is life and death. Fire into the air. The gunshot might scare her.
Or make her charge. Just get back to the jeep.
Jameson peels his eyes away from the big cat ahead of him and notices the rest of the pride are in motion, chasing down the girl.
What about the girl?
She's lunch.
We can still save her.
Forget about her.
Give me the rifle. I'll go and get her.
I can't do that. I won't let you shoot a lion.
She'll die.
Now that's natural, baby.
Jameson scowls, and in one sudden movement, he bolts off into the grass in the direction of the girl. The lioness watches him go, keeping low and poised, but then returns her gaze to Ace. Ace slowly climbs into the jeep and closes the door. He looks out at the plain, searching for Jameson or the girl. No sign of them. Ace climbs onto his seat and pulls his body up and out of the sunroof. The lioness is now sitting comfortably and relaxed in front of the jeep. She is an elder. The scars on her face and the history in her burning yellow eyes shows her depth. She peers at Ace, never breaking eye contact. Jameson runs like he has never ran before, literally for his life. He has lost sight of the girl again, but has noticed a couple of the pride have altered their course and are now heading for him. He spots a tree ahead of him and powers towards it. He climbs in a frenzy, expecting to hear that blood-curdling snarl as he is attacked from behind at any moment. And as he reaches a safe height, 2 male lions break out of the grass below him. They watch him, circling and snarling, trying to find a way up the tree. After a short while, they seem to give up and disappear back into the grass. Jameson catches his breath, but only temporarily. Comes a shrill, frightened female voice. Jameson turns to see the girl, sprinting through the grass towards the tree. Several lions are close behind, moving fast. Too fast.
Hurry!
Jameson yells. He positions himself on a large, overhanging branch. He clamps his legs around the branch and hangs down, dangling his hands. The girl is close, as are the lions. He can hear them panting as they run.
Reach for me!
Jameson shouts, stretching out his hands. The girl reaches out to him, her expression frantic and petrified. Their fingers make contact. Just as a lion pounces, Jameson grabs her hand tightly.
I got you!
He cries and tries to pull her up. The lion slams into her. All 4 paws and sharp claws gripping her tightly. The force breaks Jameson's grip, almost pulling him out of the tree. She screams as she and the lion sail through the air before crashing down into the mud. The lion roars. It is fierce and brutal, instantly clawing and mauling her. She screams again as her flesh is torn open by teeth and claws. As more lions close in around her, Jameson tries to shout to scare the pride away.
Hey! No! Hey! Hey! Over here! No! Hey!
Another lion quickly moves in and clamps its jaws around the girl's bloodied throat. She lets out another high-pitched gargled screech. Then nothing, as she is obscured out of sight by the pride. Jameson can only listen to the gruesome sounds of the pride eating their kill and bickering over the spoils. He is reminded of his dream, the sharks eating him piece by piece. He begins to weep. As the girl's screams fall silent, Ace turns back to the lioness, who has sat graceful, casually watching him the entire time. She nonchalantly stares into his eyes as he stares into hers. Her ear flickers and she seems to smell the air. After a moment she gets up and casually strolls off towards her pride and her food. Ace slowly lowers himself back down into the jeep and into his seat. He shakes his head in disbelief.
Jameson.
He starts the engine and slowly drives in the direction of the lioness. After a short drive, he finds Jameson and what is left of the girl. He spots Jameson in a nearby tree, lying face down on a branch. He manoeuvres the jeep under the tree. Jameson lifts his head. He looks down at the jeep and then at the pride devouring their kill. A lion lifts its head, its bloodied mouth chewing. A long clump of blonde hair and scalp is snagged in its teeth. Jameson turns away in disgust. He carefully hangs down and drops onto the roof of the jeep and climbs inside via the sunroof. He slumps down into his seat. Ace inquisitively watches him for a moment, but Jameson is in shock and just stares, bug-eyed, into space. Ace sighs and switches off the engine. Jameson notices and seems to snap out of his trance.
What are we waiting for? You've done what you came here to do. We can't leave until they finish their meal,
Ace says, reaching into his shirt pocket. Jameson slowly turns to him as Ace pulls out a pristine white card.
You're kidding me. Technically, I didn't kill her, but I'm still taking credit for it. I need the publicity. The message will be clear. What message is that? That lions kill people? I think we've known about that one for thousands of years. Exactly. Take a look at these wondrous animals,
Ace says, gesturing a hand towards the pride.
Doing what they've been doing for thousands of years. Being amazing hunters. If you try to take them on, as the late Miss Jones here used to do, there's always a chance that you become the hunted. You become the trophy on the lion's wall, so to speak. As if she stood a chance? You brought her here. You're responsible for her death. Well, shit on my grave. I was all for taking her back to the ranch and dumping her there, alive and well. Like you said, scared enough, point made. It was she who thought it would be a better idea to run off into the jaws of some hungry lions.
Ace alters his voice to that of a southern accent.
I mean, I knew she was from Texas and all, but shit, she sure weren't too bright, was she? Don't you have any remorse at all for what just happened?
Jameson asks, exasperated.
A girl has just been killed. You're already mocking her? And now I'm an accomplice to another murder. Okay, first, this was technically not murder, so I would say you're only an accomplice to manslaughter. And second, people die every moment of every day. Am I supposed to mourn them all? I don't know this girl personally. I didn't even know of her existence until recently. And what I learned about her disgusted me. All those pictures and videos. The joy in her face, in her eyes, as she posed with the carcasses of the animals she's just murdered. It led to controversy, public outcry even, especially across social media. But as a result of all the publicity, she got her very own TV show. It's sickening. People like her never stop. You can't ask them nicely. Even the law is on their side. She would have shot her way to her own talk show if it meant wiping out every last one of these majestic creatures. Her death, albeit an accident, will send a message to the other animal murderers out there. The hunter will become the hunted, be it by animal or activist.
Jameson stares at the pride. They are already beginning to disperse. The girl, he realizes, is obviously slim pickings for animals that are used to dining on wildebeest and buffalo. The horror of it overwhelms him again, and he lowers his head. He weeps for a moment.
It's freaky, isn't it? That as each lion fans out, there are little pieces of her inside each of them.
Jameson looks up at Ace, confounded.
And then she'll be pooped out. A little bit here, a little bit there.
Jameson pounces on Ace with hands wrenched into claws.
Hey!
Ace manages to block Jameson's attack, and they grapple with each other for a moment, huffing and growling. Ace begins to laugh, only making Jameson more furious. He pins Ace against his door, which opens and swings outwards. Ace looks behind him and realizes he is exposed. He pushes back against Jameson as they gasp and spray spittle at each other. Eventually, the exertion and the stifling heat makes Jameson tire, and he gives in. They fall back in their seats, breathing heavily. Ace pulls the door closed.
Whew. Are you crazy? The door was wide open. I might have been killed.
Good! That was the general idea.
A hungry lion could have got me.
Ace says, feigning protest.
Although I reckon these particular lions won't be hungry for another few hours at least. But a ravenous hyena or something could have sneaked up on me.
Ace,
Yes.
please.
Ace smiles. They sit in silence for a short time. Ace reaches behind him and scoops a camera off the jeep floor. He swings his door open again and climbs out. Jameson watches him from inside the jeep as he cautiously edges towards the area where the lions had killed the girl. Ace freezes, clearly spotting her remains. He quickly leans down and leaves the card on her carcass. He stands and takes a picture. He makes a hasty return to the jeep as winged undertakers swoop down to investigate the scene. Ace climbs back into his seat and closes the door. They both look ahead at the vultures as they begin to quarrel over tiny morsels of flesh on bone.
Well,
Ace says in his deep southern accent.
she ain't so pretty no more.
Jameson sighs.
I hate you.
Ace wheezes out a laugh.
Can we leave now?
Or do you have anyone else to murder? As a matter of fact,
Ace smiles, starting the engine.
I do, Cubby.
Jameson quickly looks at Ace.
Wait, here? In Africa?
Yes, in Africa. But not here, though.
Ace says as he hits the accelerator and pulls the jeep around back onto the road.
In Ghana.
Ghana?
Jameson blurts, recalling his conversation with Tafari.
Yes, to a city called...
Kumasi?
Ace stares at Jameson, confused and suspicious.
Yes, Kumasi. Now, how did you know that?
Jameson stares out onto the plains and watches a tower of giraffes running freely in that awkward yet elegant way through the grassland. For a short-lived moment, the sight lifts his spirit. He wishes he could join them. He sighs and turns to Ace.
I don't know how to tell you this,